Hospitalizations from COVID-19 continue their decline as the number of cases in our state climbs to nearly 59,000. Hello, everyone. I'm Vic Carter.
And I'm Nicole Baker. Now, that good news comes amid growing concerns about a spike in cases over the next 2 weeks as a result of all the protests happening here and across the country.
In Anne Arundel County, health officials are urging anyone who's been out at a demonstration to get tested. WJZ investigator Mike Kelgren is live at Arundel Mills with that warning. Mike.
Vic, this is why contact tracing is so important. We know that cases are recorded in a patient's home, city, and county and won't necessarily reflect if they've traveled somewhere to protest. And it could be 3 to 4 weeks before we see if there are any spikes. After large protests in Annapolis and other parts of Anne Arundel County, the health officer here is urging people who have participated to get tested.
And we definitely recommend waiting a few days after that event. Typically, it takes a few days if you have the virus for it to show in testing. So waiting at least 3 days is our recommendation.
While hospitalizations have been declining for almost 2 weeks straight statewide and testing is ramped up, health officials across Maryland are closely watching for any spike in cases after days of massive protests.
COVID-19 is going to be here for a little bit. Hopefully we'll get a vaccine and then, our scientists deal with it.
Research in The Lancet showed unmasked demonstrators are at a more than 17% higher risk of infection. Masked carries a much lower 3.1% extra risk.
A lot of young people that are out there in that crowd, to just be careful. I wouldn't be hugging grandma until you get that test.
It's also possible we could see spikes with the protest.
Nationwide, the CDC and World Health Organization have urged people to be cautious and keep their masks on if they demonstrate.
We really want those individuals to highly consider being evaluated and get tested.
But it's not just protests. As people emerge from lockdown and come in contact with others, doctors are looking for any change in the numbers.
Are we seeing protests as a risk factor? Are we seeing people going to restaurants? Are we seeing people who were going shopping? We don't know. And so that's why we collect the data to see if there are any trends that show up in them.
It could take weeks before trends emerge.
It's really easy to get complacent when things are looking good, and that's our word of caution.
And we also know access to personal protective gear is an essential part of the state's recovery. And the state of Maryland announced that 25 companies will share $1.6 million in grants to make critical items like face masks, face shields, and gowns. Reporting live in Anne Arundel County, Mike Kelgren, WJZ.